of Sis, Strength and Stories. And today my guest is Cynthia, and she is going to give us a little bit of background about what her journey has been in healing. And I'll also kind of share a little bit more about mine. So welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I know my journey more spiritually with God started about a year ago. When did yours start?
I feel like mine has always kind of been in the developmental process. Okay. I felt like a strong presence and connection ever since I was little. But I feel like I didn't really get in tune with it more until like 3 years ago, I would say.
Yeah. So kind of the same thing. I've always known like of a presence and like I've heard about God. I didn't know in depth about who he was or Jesus. And so yeah, that's kind of how it started as well when I was a child. Like I was like, I'm special, like I'm different. Like something is not like right. And
I love how you said that because I also felt like that. I'm like, okay, I feel divinely protected. Yes. I'm like, there's something here. So yeah.
Yeah. So going back to like the trauma that I went through when I was younger, I always, and this sounds really weird, but, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but so I was in a domestic violence situation and the gentleman would beat the shit out of me almost every day, at least once a day. Wow. And I never like got hurt. Like he'd done some horrible things to me and I never like had a lot of bruises or this is a trigger warning. He hit me in the head with a hammer.
Wow.
And just the little corner of my eye right here, just kind of the bone little popped out. I didn't have like a black eye. I didn't like get knocked out. Like it was so weird. And I just felt like something protected me. Like it was just, I couldn't go around a lot of people. Only a few people knew about that. But, yeah, it's so weird so that you say that because I felt the same way.
Yeah. So I have had like a traumatic past, but it was more like family side. It wasn't like any partner or anything like that. Yeah. But I feel like my journey like really started to kick off like 3 years ago, when I quit like my tech job. And it was just really interesting because I've always attached like my worth to like my work. And so I had to just kind of like deconstruct pieces of myself to put them back together. And that like really started my self-discovery journey. Yeah. And I vividly remember I was in the shower because like that's when I like get downloads and stuff. And I was listening to the solfeggio frequencies. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I do, yes.
So like during my self-healing journey, I was like, okay, let me try this out because that's like something that was recommended. And I was listening to it while I was showering. And I just remember having like just flashbacks of my whole entire life. I was like, oh my gosh, am I dying? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
But I feel like that was like what needed to happen in order to like propel me to like where I am right now.
Yes. So it's like a death, if you will,
yes.
Right? Like you felt death. Like, yeah, absolutely. For sure. So, and I wholeheartedly believe that now that I've been through this, it was literally you die to yourself and your past and you like start this whole new version of yourself and new life. Absolutely. And it's just insane.
Yeah.
So that's how you felt.
Yeah. And after that, I've gone through like many more, like ego deaths, and it's life-changing.
It is.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to compare it to depression because like it's, after you come out of it, like it's such an enlightening experience. But it's like you go really, really low. Like I went like about a month or so where I was just like in a really low place, and usually I can get out of it, but I was just like, I told Bex, my wife, I was like, this is what's going on, and I don't know how long it's going to take me to stop treading water and get myself out of this funk, but I finally did, and it was really good. And it was just like really spiritual, and I shed layers of myself that I no longer needed. And I feel like that was needed in order to be able to express myself more authentically out in the world. So
absolutely. And I do that too. Like I get these episodes where I'm just like, what is happening? Like I am like not moving. I'm like being very, very still. I'm still in the world, but I'm just like not doing what I normally do. And like all these things that I do. And sometimes, like you said, it'll take a week. Sometimes it'll take a month. Yeah. And then when you come out of it, you're like, ding, 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 ding. Like you're like, oh, okay. So I'm supposed to go do this, this, and this now.
Yes.
And I think being aware of that is what helps you move forward and become what you're supposed to become. Because if you just think, I'm down, I don't know what I'm doing, and you just try to get out of it just to survive, and you're in survival mode, I think it's a little different. Because then like you bring in the depression, like you said, you really don't want to call it that, but it's almost what it is.
Yeah.
And it's so rewarding when you're self-aware and you're like, oh, okay, so this is just another stepping stone to become my best version.
Exactly.
And that's a huge thing to be self-aware.
Oh yeah.
So that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah.
It's hard sometimes, but it's so worth it.
It's very worth it.
It's a good way of experiencing all your emotions, and I think that's so needed in the world today.
Absolutely. And it's like you feel your emotions, you acknowledge that they're there, and then you let it pass.
Yes.
And then you're like,
go with love.
Yes. And you're like, okay, I'm feeling this. This is not who I am, but this is what I'm feeling. I'm going to accept it. I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to release it.
Yeah.
And when you can control that and know that you're just feeling it because you're human,
right?
And that we have these, I think there was like a thing, it was like 551 emotions total.
Yes.
Yeah, it's huge. I was like, whoa, what?
And I feel like the majority of like society thinks there's only like anger, happy, but like underneath anger, there's like hundreds of like other emotions that you can have. Like you can feel frustrated or irritated or like embarrassed. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, really important to explore all of those.
It is. And I think a lot of research, and I know a lot of people we just want to feel better. So we just try to work through it and like get past it. But when you actually go and do the research and you look, into what is causing it, and then you can like grow from it, is amazing. So I think research of what you're feeling and why you're feeling that. And so I talked about on my last podcast about the ultimate journey, and that's what that does. It kind of walks you through your emotions and feeling them, letting them go, and then healing your inner child. Because at the end of the day, that is who we're trying to save.
Yeah, and go back to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so awesome that when you find that and you can like be a kid again, you're just like excited and joyful.
Yes.
It's like, I just want to be a big kid.
Right.
Yes, I am a businesswoman, but also I'm a big kid. Like
right.
I don't know if y'all went on the slide at the Iowa State Fair.
No, but I didn't get to.
Twice.
I love it.
I was like, I'm going to go to the fair and I'm going to just have a good time. Let my inner child have a good time, because I'm always business, or I'm always serious, and you have to let go. You have to like enjoy life, and those little things is what makes us happy sometimes. So
it's so much needed.
Yeah. And
then after you heal your inner child, and there's a healing the teenager.
Yes.
It's a rage.
Yeah.
And anger.
Yes. And it's like, okay, I went through all this stuff as a teenager, and I'm angry at these people. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You get angry, you yell, you cry, you do whatever you need to do. And then you let it go and you forgive, because love and forgiveness will equal your peace. And that is wholeheartedly what I believe. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast, is because I want people to love and forgive and heal, so then they can just be these amazing people that they're meant to be. Not that they aren't, but so much more in this world that they could have in their hearts and their mind. And just to have that peace is just like, it's an amazing feeling.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. So I remember speaking with you at the cafe, and me and Cynthia have only known each other, maybe 3-4 months?
Yeah.
We haven't known each other that long, but we were at the same agent tour or broker tour or agent tour that her wife was holding. And we briefly spoke, and I immediately was like, she's giving off this aura, this vibe, but I don't know who she is. And we briefly spoke, and I was like, like, I feel like I need to connect with her more. And then you had reached out or Bex had reached out, and we met at a coffee spot, and we just kind of like started talking, and we both felt that.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
Yeah. So a little background story on that. Bex had met you prior, and she was like, oh my gosh, you have to meet her. Like, she's so cool. Like, she's so spiritual. You guys would hit it off. And I was like, okay, let's meet her. But then I also felt that, like, the first time that we actually met at the Agents Open, I was like, oh my gosh, like, there's something about her that, like, I gravitate towards and just feels energetically aligned. I was like, I want to get to know her more. And so, yeah, like, at the coffee shop, Bex was like, hey, do you want to come? Amanda's going to be there. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That was like an amazing conversation. We talked about a lot of energy that we kind of give off and that we can feel.
Yes.
And you were talking about how people gravitate towards you. And I was saying the same thing as people gravitate towards me. And then I believe that they gravitate towards us because we're supposed to plant a seed in them. And then they enlighten themselves and become more, and then they go and plant the seed. I think that's what I feel is a thing. But how did you feel that when we talked? Like,
I think the first thing that I felt was validated, because there's a lot of things that happen to, like, you know, people that are more spiritually inclined, and you kind of feel alone because, like, some of the stuff sounds really bizarre, right?
Yes.
And it's like, you can't quantify it. So yeah, it just felt really good to know that somebody else was having similar experiences.
Yeah, because we were guided. Well, I was guided on a journey in a mall.
Yeah. Of all places.
Of all places. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about yours as well, because you had a similar experience.
Yeah.
So I had just gotten done at the gym, and I was starving, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go get Chipotle. And my spirit was like, no, you're not. You're going to go to the mall. And I was like, I don't want to go to the mall. I want to eat. I'm hungry. I'm like arguing with my spirit in the car. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to the mall. And then I heard it say, like, well, you can eat there. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, I can eat there. Okay. So I go to the mall in Jordan Creek, and I'm just like sitting there eating. I'm like, okay, well, I obeyed. Like, God's listening. I obeyed him. And then I'm sitting there eating, and this lady is walking toward me with a gentleman and another lady, and we lock eyes, and I just smile at her, and then she walks by, and they walk on down, and my spirit is like, go talk to her. And I was like, excuse me? What do you mean go talk to her? And I'm like, I'm eating, and that's weird, and I'm a mess. I just got done at the gym. And it just kept saying, like, go find her and go talk to her. So I was like, okay. So I got done eating. I threw my stuff away, and I walked, and I'm like talking to myself in the mall. And I'm just like, well, I don't know where she went. Like, you're going to have to guide me to where she is. And anybody who knows me knows I am deathly afraid of heights. And I go over to the railing because, you know, from the food court, you go this way, and it kind of goes this way. And I'm over here, like, leaning over the railing from the second story, and nothing, my normal, like, tingling of all over my body from being in the height was not there. Like, I was straight, like, in some other dimension.
Like,
I don't know.
Guided.
Yeah, totally focused and guided. And they were like, it was just like, look that way. And I looked that way, and I saw the gentleman, but I didn't see the women. So I'm like running down the mall to by where like Sephora, I think it was, or Foot Locker is. And I go downstairs and I see the gentleman and he's in H&M and I walk up to him and I'm just like, hi, sir, can you please tell me where the ladies that were with you, where they're at? And he's like, why? It's like, I'm like, well, I have a message for one of them. He's like, oh, they're next door. I'm like, okay. So I go next door. And the lady that I'm supposed to approach is paying, and the other lady is standing next to her over here looking at some things. And I walk up to her and I'm just like, ma'am, I'm sorry, but I'm just supposed to tell you everything's going to be okay. And she just broke down crying. And she's like, what? And the lady behind her is saying, no way that this is happening. No way. Are you for real? I'm like, I don't know what I don't know what this is about. I said, but I'm supposed to tell you from Jesus, like everything is going to be okay. She's like, you have no idea how much I needed that today. And we hugged and I walked away and I like snapped out of it. Like as I'm walking out of the store and I'm like, what the hell did I just do?
Yeah.
It was crazy because I was just focused. I was on this a mission. And then I completed it and then I was done and I was like, oh, okay, this is how this is going to work.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Is that the first time that's happened to you?
That was the first time that it's happened and I obeyed. Before giving my life to Christ, I have been prompted to do that before. And I never like had the courage to go up to someone and do things because I was like, what the heck is happening? You know? I think maybe once or twice I've done that, but it wasn't like that. It was not like that at all. It was like, oh yeah, hey, like, I hope you're having a great day or something, you know, like it wasn't nothing as intimate and jarring as that one.
Yeah. It can be pretty scary.
Yeah.
Especially with strangers because you never know how they're going to react.
Exactly. And I was like, yeah, I was scared to do this, but I did it. And there was a couple more after that, but let's hear your experience.
Yeah. So mine's pretty short. It was basically, I took a nap and then I woke up and I just had like this message that I needed to give to this person. And it was like, you know, there's blessings that are going to come your way. I actually asked them first. I was like, I have a divine message for you. Can I give it to you? Like, you know, you have to ask permission because not everybody's open to it.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I'm definitely open to it. I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm supposed to tell you that you have really big blessings coming your way. And they're like, oh my gosh, like today I started the process to like get the custody of my child back. And they're like, I needed to hear that so much.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, just, it gives me goosebumps.
Right?
Like, it really does. Because again, like if we don't know that that's what's happening and are aware and like take action for it, it's like we just ignore the gifts that we have to help other people.
Yeah.
And to know, like you said, that there is other people out there that are like this, it's very reassuring and it kind of makes me feel like, okay, so I'm not the only one out here looking crazy, walking up to strangers and telling them things. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes, definitely.
So, what kind of, I guess, so are you healing from that trauma that you had, not with a relationship, but family? How did that work through this healing that you've been doing the last 3 years?
So I guess there's like different parts. So I'm healing from like the relationship with my mother, and that's like an ongoing thing. Yeah. So there's like it's a really long story, so I'll just like leave it there. But I guess like the different healing modalities that I've been using is like meditation and like somatic exercises and excuse me. And then there's like this self-guided course that I'm doing. It's called the Gene Keys.
Okay.
And I don't know if you're like into astrology and stuff, but it's connected to like your birth chart.
Okay.
And it's it basically kind of, as you discover yourself more, it just kind of unravels pieces of you that need healing and, you know, all that good stuff. But more specifically, like what really stood out for me from that course is that I feel like I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign, so I used to be very direct and kind of unfiltered. And ever since like 3 years ago when I started my healing journey, I kind of took a step back and was like, oh my gosh, I need to be more compassionate and empathetic and, you know, consider people's feelings more. But the course specifically showed me that being strong happens through a series of softenings. And that's the journey that I'm on right now.
Okay. I never even would put it that way or like think of it that way. So yeah, that's enlightening to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting and exciting and a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened was that I got my dog Arlo, well, our dog, my wife and I's dog, but he's like my little soul dog. And he, when we got him 3 years ago, like he completely opened up my heart chakra, like just blasted it open. And I think it's because of his personality. Like he's such a lover and he loves everyone and such a social butterfly. And so, yeah, I think that like propelled me to just be like more loving and open and you like I'm not like a physical touch person as much as, you know, other people are. And he's such a lover. Like he'll just come up to me and give me a hug or like give me a kiss. So that I think that really like just helped expand my heart more.
Aww. I love animals, especially dogs. They give you unconditional love.
Yes.
It's like literally unconditional love here on earth. Like it's so amazing.
It is.
And my grandpuppies, like they are so cuddly and they're just so small. Yeah. And other people, they're like not, one of them is not so nice to. And I'm like, okay, like calm down. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love dogs.
Same.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your healing. And is there anything that you have that you are sent here to say to anybody or to say to the camera?
Let's see. I think just follow your bliss and just be authentically yourself. And the more you do that, the more you're going to attract opportunities and the right people into your life.
Amen. Yeah. I wholeheartedly believe that when you are yourself and you love other people and you forgive people because we're forgiven of our trespasses, that again, it just equals peace. Yeah. And like who doesn't want peace, right?
Yes.
Not only in their heart, but in their mind. And to know that, like you said, your mother, you have that healing journey still, and I had that as well. And I have forgiven her, and I love her, and I know that she did the best she could with what she had because she had went through trauma as well.
Yes.
And to know that now, when I didn't know that when I was younger, because I just did not like my mom. I did not like my mom. I didn't like what she did. I didn't like what she left us kids. I didn't like a lot of things. And now I'm like, wow, like she was doing the best she could with what she had. And I have to give some grace.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if not, how am I supposed to expect my children to give me grace? Because I was traumatized. I went through things and I messed them up a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So now that I'm on this healing journey and trying to help my children heal from what I went through, like I said in my other podcast, like the other episode, I don't want my grandbabies to have to heal. Like that's my main thing here on earth is to break that generational curse.
And I love that you can acknowledge that and apply that.
Thank you. Yes. And you as well.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel like I'm right there with you. Like, I'm at the point where I've reflected enough to like be able to forgive my mother and, you know, send her peace and love. And I think right now we're just at the point of like rebuilding.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good, because you can always love and forgive and then not try to rebuild. So that's very, very important and courageous of you to do that, because we're just love them, and then we don't try to rebuild, and that's important. So so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of
Welcome.
you.
Thanks. Thank you. All right. Well, everybody, that was this episode, and stay tuned because we will have more guests and more of our talking about healing and everything that we've been through. And stay tuned. This is great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
Bye.